guys, so as you can see, I have had the baby. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I had him on Saturday, December 23rd at 9:10 p.m. His name is Levi Alexander, and he is just perfect. So today I'm here to do my labor and delivery story. This has been highly requested. By the way, before I get started, I wanted to thank you guys for the continuous love and support. When I put on Instagram that I was going into labor, I got so many messages and just so many kind words of encouragement from a lot of people. So I just wanted to thank you guys for that, because it really does help, and it really does mean a lot to me. With that said, I will jump right into my labor and delivery story. On Friday, December 22nd, I had a doctor's appointment, and it was just a regular appointment. It was just for the monitoring that I always did twice a week. So I went in for that around, I think that appointment was at 3. When I was sitting on the monitors, his heart rate started to dip, and it was like doing dips and coming back and dips and coming back. So the doctor was like, we are going to send you to the hospital just for some prolonged monitoring and a possible induction if his heart rate keeps dipping. So I ran from my doctor's appointment to the hospital, and yeah, you remember? And they knew that I was coming, and I went right up to triage, and they were ready for me. And I got there around like 4:15. And by the way, I was still 3 centimeters. She did check me in the office. They admitted me around 5:15. They were monitoring me in triage, but I don't think anything was happening. I think that the doctors were just like, we want her to stay overnight regardless, because we do want to watch the baby for overnight. So they admitted me in triage. They asked me like, 1,000,001 questions. I got my bands, I got my IV, all that. And so then we went up to labor and delivery. So at this point, I was being told that I was going to be induced. So they said that they were planning to induce me, that, the baby was coming. So I'm thinking, at this point, I was thinking that I'm going to be induced on Friday night. So we get to labor and delivery. I, get all hooked up. I put my pretty hospital gown on. Yes, I did wear it, and it was the greatest thing ever. Friday night, lags on a little bit. The doctor, it just keeps monitoring me. Nothing really happens. So I'm like, well, what the heck? Because I'm thinking I'm going to be induced today. You know what I mean? So I was getting really impatient. I was being told that I might be sent home. So it was just, I was really confused, and it was kind of annoying. You're going to see little baby feet. He likes sitting on my lap like this. And I also thought if his heart rate dipped once, that's cause for concern, and that's a reason for being induced, in my opinion. If it dips once, that's like serious. Even if you don't really see it again for the next 18 hours, it dipped once, that's a big deal. So I was trying to convey that to them, but they were like, oh, you're only 38 weeks. We don't like to induce at 38 weeks. It's early. We have all these protocols we have to follow and all stuff. So I was a little frustrated. So Saturday morning, I woke up, bless you. And, they were like, we're going to send you home. The baby's heart is fine. They were like, do you want us to check if you're dilated? And I was like, of course. Because if they were like, if you're dilated, then, you can have the baby. So I was 3 centimeters the day before. And that morning, Saturday morning, when I woke up, I was 5 centimeters, almost 6. So I was like, yes. I was like, my body just went into labor at the hospital Friday night into Saturday. I started dilating, which I was so happy. They were like, all right, well, looks like you're having a baby today. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I was just ready to have him at that point. I, you know, just wanted him out, and my body was like, okay, which is funny because my body did the same thing with Julian. Okay, he's just nursing now. I was feeling very crampy, period-like cramps, nothing crazy or like super hurtful or anything. So I was dilating, but I wasn't contracting. So they were like, all right, well, we're gonna start you on Pitocin to get the contractions started because your body's not contracting, it's just dilating. Did I know the strength of Pitocin? I didn't have Pitocin with my first, and I mean, I knew obviously what it did, but it did it so fast, and they were giving it to me in such small doses, and they were like upping it every half hour. So they started me on the Pitocin around 12. And then around 4:15, the doctor came in and broke my water because my water didn't break naturally either. So she broke my water around 4:15. And that I had felt before, that sensation. They broke my water with Julian as well. So once she broke my water, boy, did the labor start. I mean, like, it was serious. And at this point, after they broke my water, they had turned my Pitocin down. So I wasn't even getting that much Pitocin after they broke my water. And it was pretty painful. I did sit on the ball for a little bit, which helped. But I didn't walk around. I know I wanted to, but when you're in it and feeling that, I honestly didn't want to walk around. I either wanted to be on the ball or like in bed, which I know they say laying in bed is probably the worst thing to do, but that's honestly all I wanted to do because I had this spot on the ceiling that I stared at during each contraction, and I just like breathed and I just stared at this one black spot on the ceiling during each contraction. I don't know, that was like my thing. I do want to also add, my mom and Justin were in the room for the birth, and they were incredible. They really helped me through each contraction. They were feeding me ice cubes and putting cold towels on my head and talking me through it and just helping me. So they were a great sense of support. Also, my nurse was the most amazing human, and my doctor, that I think I've ever encountered. She was just so great. One of those people where like she was put on this earth to be a labor and delivery nurse. Like, she was incredible. I do also want to add, obviously you saw in the title, but I did have an all natural labor and delivery. I know that in a lot of my pregnancy videos, I told you guys I wanted to do it naturally and that I was going to try everything in my power to do it naturally. I told people in my life I was going to do it naturally, and a lot of people doubted me, at least in my life. I don't know if you guys did. And nobody really thought that I could do it, and I don't know why it makes me so emotional that I did do it naturally. It was just something that was really important to me to do, and I just feel like really good and proud of myself. I can't believe I'm crying right now. That I had an all natural labor, so that I also want to add. I cannot believe that I just cried over that. Whew, hormones. So I kept dilating, obviously. I was 8 centimeters for a while. I was 9 centimeters for a while. I felt like 9 centimeters lasted a really long time. And then when I was finally 10 centimeters, I started to push. I started pushing at 8 p.m. So between 4:15 and 8 p.m., I was dilating and contracting and experiencing some of the worst pains that I've ever felt in my lifetime. So I started pushing around 8. And another thing that was new to me that really motivated me in this labor was that they brought in a mirror. So they put a mirror next to the doctor so I could see what my body was doing. And at first, when they asked me if I wanted the mirror, I was like, no, in my head. And then I thought about it for like a second or two, and I was like, yeah, like I want to see what I'm doing. And they brought in the mirror, and I just like was watching what my body was doing. And I was like, oh my God. And I saw like all his hair and like everything. And like that was a huge sense of motivation for me to actually see what was happening and what I was doing with every push and every contraction, what my body is capable of, what I'm capable of, and my strength and power as a woman. And just to see it, like I'm feeling it, and to see it at the same time, it was incredible. It really was. So if you get the chance to have a mirror at your labor and delivery, and you want to see the amazing act that you're doing, get a mirror, because it will really help you and motivate you, and just like, I mean, it'll take your breath away. Once I started pushing, it was really painful to have the contraction, and start pushing was really painful. Like having to like lift up my legs and push during a contraction was really painful. But one of the most painful parts of my labor was him crowning. And that ring of fire is so real. So real. I mean, like, I literally was screaming. I was like, this hurts so much. This is the worst part, blah, blah, blah. And the doctor's like, I know. Push him out, push him out, push him out. And so I felt that for a while. And then I gave like one big push. And I remember them screaming to me, grab your baby, grab your baby. And I was like, what? And I just didn't expect to like pull him out of myself, which is literally what I did. I like leaned up, I put my hands out, I grabbed him by the shoulders, or I grabbed him underneath his arms, and I like just pulled him and plopped him onto myself, which was, again, incredible. And I just remember that feeling like, oh my gosh. I was so emotional. I was crying my eyes out. My mom was crying. Justin was crying. I just kept saying, I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I just did that. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience, but I was 100% there. I don't know how to explain that feeling. I don't know what I'm even trying to say, but I literally was floored. My little Levi was born at 9:10 p.m. He weighed 7 pounds, 5 ounces, and he was 20 inches long. And he is just absolutely perfect. He was born with a full head of hair, and he's just amazing. Then the drama started. So after I had him, I was in a lot of pain, and I didn't know if it was normal or not. With my first, I had an epidural, so I didn't feel anything even afterwards till it wore off. So I thought it was normal for a little bit, but I mean, after a while, I went to the bathroom, I peed, and I nursed him, and within all that time, I was in excruciating pain. I mean, I literally was on the bed, and I was like, Justin was like, what's wrong? I was like, I don't know. I was like shaking. I was in so much pain. And so the nurse was like, you shouldn't be in that much pain. Let me call the doctor. And I was like, okay. I mean, I was screaming. I was in so much pain. And the doctor came in and was like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. I'm in a lot of pain. I'm in a lot of pain. Something's wrong. And she was like, all right, let me take a look. And she stuck her arm, it felt like, up inside me and pulled out a blood clot that was basically as big, almost as big as my placenta. So I was clotting like crazy, and it was just pooling and pooling and pooling and pooling. And the second that she pulled it out of me, I felt so much better. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. And then she stuck around for a little bit, and I thought that was weird. I was like, all right, like I said, I feel better. Like, I'm fine. And I would say like maybe like 5 or 10 minutes went by and the pain started again. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. Something's wrong, blah, blah, blah. She went inside me again and pulled out another clot. And she was like, that's it. And at this point, I was starting to feel out of it. I was losing a lot of blood, which obviously I didn't know at the time. But I was losing a lot, and I'll tell you how much I lost in total in a little bit. But she was like, no, no. So she was like, she needs a blood transfusion and she needs to go into the OR right now. And I like was so tired from what I just went through, and I was losing blood, so I was starting to get out of it, and I was losing the color to my skin. My mom told me, my mom said that my eyes were rolling into the back of my head. I was responding, but I was really out of it. So all I remember was hearing the word OR, and I was like, what? And they were like, it's okay, you know, we have to get all this out of you, blah, 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 because I just kept pooling. I just kept clotting. And at that point, then I remember like the room was just full of people. It was just like at least 10 people were in my room. Someone put a second IV in my right hand because I had the one in my left. I had people putting like blood. I saw the blood bag hanging. I had the anesthesiologist come in and say something to me. The doctor was running around. There were just nurse after nurse after nurse. People were confirming my name, my birthday, talking to my mom, telling my mom and Justin what was going on. Like, I just remember it was sheer chaos. That's all I really remember, is just seeing people after people after people. And I just kept looking, and I looked at my mom and I was like, what the hell is going on? But I was out of it, so I couldn't really like, I remember like distinct moments. But my mom said at one point, right before they wheeled me into the OR, I said to her, I was like really out of it, and I said to her, this wasn't a part of my plan. And she was like, I know, you'll be okay. And I kept asking, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? And they're like, you're going to be fine. You're going to be totally fine. You're not going to feel it in the OR. Because at this point I was still in a lot of pain. Every time she would take out a clot, I mean, it freaking hurt a lot. So I was like, am I going to feel it, please? And I was like, I need the pain to stop. I've been in pain all day. Please make it stop. Please make it stop. And they're like, you're not going to feel it in the OR. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. So I remember being wheeled from my room to the OR. I remember they were going really fast. And they kept saying, Sarah, are you okay? Sarah, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. And then I got to the OR. They put me onto the OR table, bed, whatever. And they put something in my IV on this hand that, you see the mark still from the tape? I still have tape marks all over me, by the way. They put something in my arm, in this hand, that burnt so much. I mean, I was like, I remember it hurting. I was like, oh my God. And then I was out. All I remember from the OR. And then I woke up. And I knew, when I woke up, I knew I wasn't in the OR anymore just because of the ceiling. And it wasn't as bright. and I was just like out of it. I was looking for my mom. I was looking for the baby. The baby was in the nursery. They did take the baby and wheel him into the nursery. So I was like asking where everybody was. I was asking what happened to me. And then I remember she told me to rest. So I slept like a little bit after, but I was still really out of it. I mean, I just got off of that strong anesthesia. I was still completely out of it. Not to be too TMI, but this is a mom channel and birth is messy. So after I got out of the OR, I had no control of my bowels. Absolutely none. They had given me something, a shot of something before I got into the OR. But I was just full of medication and stuff. So I had like no control of myself. So I just kept feeling myself like go. And it was the worst feeling ever. And I told the nurse, I was like, something just happened. And she was like, you probably went to the bathroom. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, it's okay. Like, that happens. I just felt so disgusting and so bad for her. I finally got back into my room, and I didn't go to the recovery room, like the nice suite you go to after you give birth. I went back into the room I gave birth in. So I went back into the labor and delivery room. And when I got back to the room, I was like, I need to see my baby. Like, I need him wheeled into this room right now, no matter how weak and exhausted and confused I am. I need to see my baby. And she was like, okay, I'll go get him. So at this point, it was like 2 a.m. on Sunday, and she wheeled him in, and he was just fast asleep, all swaddled up, and I held him, and I talked, me and my mom talked, and I was just so, it's like I held him, and none of anything that I was feeling mattered. It was just me and Levi, and I just went through this traumatic episode and this amazing birth, and I just looked at him, and every second and every contraction and every pain was worth it. Every blood transfusion that I got, every drop of blood that I lost was just, it was just worth it. So in total, I lost 2 liters of blood in an hour. I had 2 blood transfusions in the hospital, and I was in the OR for about an hour, I believe. They finally put me in the regular recovery room Sunday morning around 9 o'clock. I went over there. I did not tear, and they did not cut me. So I had nothing. I have nothing, no stitches, not one stitch. Thank you, Jesus, because that was the worst part of my recovery with Julian, was the stitches. My body is recovering really nicely. I feel really good, and I'm really happy, and I can't wait to watch my little guy grow, and he is just a ball of perfection. So that is it for my amazing, dramatic, and all-natural labor and delivery story. I know this is a very long video, but I hope you were entertained by it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Again, thank you for the love and support you have shown me through this pregnancy, through the labor, and I'm sure you guys will continue to do it as I raise Levi and Julian and just create a beautiful life for me and my children. Follow me on Instagram to keep updated and keep posted. I have been posting so many pictures of my cutie and Julian, and it is just it's been great. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you for my next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.